Big Drive Energy Wednesday edition. Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Feels like a Friday. My son asked if he could wear his Friday shirt, and I said it's not Friday yet. It feels like a Friday. Feels like the end of the week, but we will wear the Friday shirt on Black Friday, which is coming up here soon. Thank you all for tuning in. If you're watching this on the YouTube, give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate that. Sorry about the last episode too, by the way. Something random happened, and we lost like a good amount in the middle, so I'm not sure kind of what was going on there, but I tried to remedy the problem. Problem wasn't remedied, so we have a 49-minute episode and a lot cut out, but we appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, today we're going to talk about the last PGA Tour event of 2025, Sami Valimaki winning at the RSM Classic. The PGA Tour season has come to a close, and there's a lot of rumblings about what the PGA Tour could look like going forward, so we'll get into that. We'll talk about some stats of what happened in the 2025 season, who won the most, who won the least, some guys that are some notable guys that are losing their PGA Tour cards, plus WTF Wednesday. All right, let's tee it up. Big Drive Energy Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We're almost there. We're almost to the holiday. I guess it's kind of officially the holiday season. I've been hemming and hawing about putting my lights up, my Christmas lights up for a couple days now, but I think after this podcast, it's decent out here. It's colder. It still feels like fall, not winter yet, but I'm going to go outside and I'm just going to hammer it out. And I've gotten... I've tried to put up lights multiple times now, and I've had some serious issues with my lights not working. So today, before I left the house, I was going to go pick up some more lights, but instead I decided to check the current lights that I have. Pretty simple process here, but check the current lights that I have. And of course, every other strand working perfectly. The one strand of icicle lights that goes across the whole front of my house, not working at all. Gotten some, shout out Amazon, got some new ones with a remote. So I'm pretty pumped about that. I can change the settings, see what we really like to dive into here. And then I brought a set of lights over to your house to put up. And of course, that didn't test that set before I did that. Also not working. So quick WTF Wednesday kind of to start it off. But all of my current lights in my possession that are not, I rammed some in the trash can that are not in the trash can are working. So I'm ready to put up some Christmas lights.
I love that. I'm doing well. I think it's hilarious that you didn't even think to check them. And there's truly nothing worse than checking Christmas lights and finding out that and I swear it's like big Christmas lights against people. Because there's got to be a way they can make these shits more efficient and make them a little bit more durable to last more than one season. Because I swear, when I used to decorate mom's house, and I still might this year, even though it's going to be a little bit later, it feels like there's at least 1 to 2 strands that I have to go buy every year. It just feels like it's a cycle. And it just kind of feels that way with everything, like phones, like, you fucking name it, you got to go buy it once every couple years. It's such a pain in the ass. But this just kind of got me thinking. So that's on a remote. We have lights here that are on a remote. What do you think would be a great invention that you could what do you think would be way better remote control? Like, what would make your life much easier?
A remote control
nanny.
No, then you gotta do too much work and control it. Remote control. I think just having maybe a remote control, like basically toy that could grab things for you, because there's nothing. I sit down on the couch like 5 different times when I sit down, and it's so aggravating every single time. Like I'll sit down to eat dinner and I'll be like, oh, Sawyer needs his milk now. Oh, I need to get a fork. Oh, I forgot napkins. Like I can never, oh, the sauce for my wings. I just can never sit down once. So it'd be nice to have a remote control, maybe a refrigerator that would like, like it opens up and then it shoots it out
Got a
at you.
beer.
Yeah, exactly.
I like
Just
that.
like a vending machine. You have all your shit stacked on the shelves and like E4 is the Coors Light that I'm gonna drink, and then it just shoots it out at you.
Like a t-shirt cannon, you just aim it right at yourself and it just shoots it right to you. I was thinking about that the other day because I walked around the corner to grab a hoagie from Primo Hoagies. I called it a hoagie, so now I'm officially like New Jersey. I call it a sub, a sandwich, whatever the fuck you call it. Um, but I was like, I could easily just fly a drone. At what point is every restaurant going to deliver via drone or like, because I had to walk all the way. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's like literally a quarter-mile round trip. It's not a long walk, but our building like backs up to the building that it's in. So as the crow flies, it's like 100 feet, but I have to walk all the way around. I was like, how fucking nice would it be to just beam up a drone, drop it right in there, and just bring it back to me? Like that shit would be so gas. I actually think drones, I've never really gotten into them, but they're pretty underrated for like, I just wish I could ride on one. I just want a drone that people can ride on. Like, when are we going to have?
Called a helicopter, and we're just
Well,
not in the
no,
tax bracket to own or ride in one of those
no,
consistently.
but I'm talking about like an open air. It can only go like 100 feet in the air, but you're on the drone. Like, weren't we promised as kids, like, oh yeah, there's gonna be flying cars by 2020, all we got was COVID. We didn't get any fucking flying cars. Like, I want to see cars flying. They're actually, this just takes me down this rabbit hole. Have you seen these TikToks of individual plane, like in one person planes that you don't
No,
license for or anything? Like, I would personally be probably too scared, but these things can go like 70, 80 miles an hour. You don't go over like 150, 200 feet elevation, but you can go pretty fucking fast and get wherever you want. Like, they're legal. People buy them. If I had a parachute on and knew how to parachute, then I think I would feel comfortable with it. But I truly do think that air travel is like the coolest fucking. It scares me because I'm low key afraid of heights. But and actually, here's another topic. Do you, when you're up on a high, like not even high, but like when you're at the mall and you're like looking over the edge, do you get any inclination to jump?
no, you've always had that problem. Like I remember when we'd go to Coors Field when you used to be a Rockies fan, we'd stand above the bullpen and watch the guys warm up before they came in, and you just were edging. You were edging on the edge of the edge of the wall and wanted to jump off for some reason. And I've had dreams of that. I've had scary dreams of just falling off something or jumping off something or even being shot up in the air, which is a wild scenario.
Yeah, that
But
shit's scary as hell. Like, heights in your dreams or nightmares is the worst.
yeah, but I don't have the same jump scenario that you have where you just want to apparently yeet yourself off of any high level building.
So I think it's actually a real thing. It's like not a syndrome, but it's innately in some human beings that just want to jump. But apparently, it's not out of like, it's not out of wanting to obviously die. I don't know if I should say that or not, but it's not out of like a death wish. It's more out of like the curiosity of like feeling what it would be like. Like, I mean, let's be real. You fall from 1,000 feet, those 10 seconds are electric as fuck before you hit the ground. Like, you got to feel like the most free. There's literally nothing can hold you. Like, you can only do it once, but I just want that sensation of like, but I can't skydive. I'm way too big of a pussy for that. Like, so I'm at this like, how can I jump from like 30 feet and like get that feeling, but also just maybe into a ball pit. Maybe I would do that. I don't know. I want
You
that
could go
sensation. I just
you
don't
could go
want
to the high dive at your local pool. I'm sure there's a local pool around.
dude, you see how big my body is? I'd hit that shit like cement. That if I did not like pencil down in, I would probably like they say that water basically is like concrete from a certain height when you hit it that far. So I could fucking end my own life right there as well, unintentionally. But there's just a sensation of me like I was at the mall last week to buy some stuff from Bath and Body Works. I love Bath and Body Works, by the way. Just all the good scents. It takes me back to like 15 years ago when I was in high school. I don't know, like the smells just so good. But the mall, like it's like 20 feet, you know, from the top level to the bottom level. And I just had like I can't walk that close because I just want to fucking yeet myself right over and I actually saw a video of Lane Kiffin. He's so afraid of heights. He was at like a very similar mall and was like walking up against the wall because he could not get close to like the opening that went, 20, 30 feet down. So I don't know what it is with me and heights, and for being as soft as I am, maybe it's just to protect myself because I know what I'm capable of.
That's the little devil in you, because I'm more of the Lane Kiffin, where if I'm around anything that's up high, I'm not a fan. When I took Sawyer this past year to Grand Lake and we went up in the bucket of the fire truck, I was like freaking the fuck out.
Oh,
and then I had him and his
not.
straps like falling off, and I'm like, this is
I
where it ends.
I hope Brian Kelly wasn't operating that situation.
What is the joke behind that? I haven't heard this.
You've never heard that?
No, I just know that there's like cranes
at Notre Dame, they had somebody go up in one of those cranes to videotape practice on a super windy day. I think they were advised not to. Excuse me if you heard me mini burp inside my own mouth. That was unbecoming. I just ate some meatloaf, so the burps are going to be aplenty.
Just a 4 p.m. meatloaf.
Dude, well, I just got home. That's my lunch. I ate at 3:30. I really had nothing to eat before that, fucker. But this dude got sent up, like this college kid got sent up in this not forklift, what's it called? A scissor lift. And it blew over and it killed the kid. And this was on like Brian Kelly's watch. He sent him up there in like the middle of like a 40, 50 mile an hour windstorm. And
record practice.
Yeah, I would be like, I think it was practice or a game. But anywho, this poor kid passed away from it. And have you heard the stories about how Brian Kelly's just the biggest asshole in the world?
Doesn't surprise me, but yes, I have.
Yeah, like I guess he didn't even really, he just kind of pushed off the entire thing. I'm sure the university paid the family some dollar amount, but he like had no what is that, remorse for making that kid go up there, any of that shit. So that was the joke. But yeah, I am not big on like the oh dude, it just kind of gives me the willies thinking about it right now, going up on like the top of a solar or the top of a windmill, or what are those called?
Yeah, big wind. I would say windmill.
But what are the big, like the wind farm, a turbine?
Oh, wind turbine. That
wind turbine.
Right.
Like yeah. I've seen videos of that, and that shit makes my hands sweat. But I don't know exactly how I got onto heights here. But what else? Do we have any football to talk about before we talk a little golf? I mean, there wasn't much golf.
No, I'm excited for the Thanksgiving slate tomorrow. Is pretty good. Like at the beginning of the year, it was like maybe, but now it's turned into being really, because the Chiefs and Cowboys game, Cowboys coming back and beating the Eagles last week, they're rolling, and I say that with quotation marks for any of you guys out there just listening to this and not watching on YouTube. But the Chiefs need to win basically every game, essentially, for a good bit to even make the playoffs. The Bears are I have I'm just going to say source because he's a big Bears fan. It's just one of my friends, but I always like text him like, hey, the Bears are rolling. He goes, yeah, somehow a 3-8 team is 8-3. So there's no belief there. They play the Eagles on Black Friday, which will be fun. You got Lions, Packers. The Packers are the most confusing team in the entire NFL. And then Ravens, Bengals with Joe Shiesty back. Joe Shiesty coming back and playing. Wish it would have been last week against the Patriots, but better late than never, I guess. And I haven't looked at the standings, but they're 3-8, and I feel like their division is still very much in play.
They're not
Like
mathematically out of it.
yeah, like if they win out, and I think they probably have multiple. They have the Ravens this week, but multiple division games coming up. I think they're gonna get they have a shot if they win all 6 games to win that shitty division, which is a joke, which is crazy because every year in the NFL there's surprise teams and there's surprise divisions, but you wouldn't think of a kind of a historic division, if you will, with the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Bengals after the last 5 years or since they got Joe Burrow being really good teams that are all 500 or right around it and fighting for the division win at 9-8 or 8-9, whatever it ends up being, like the Seahawks back in the day, 9-7 winning their division.
Yeah, the slate these next few days, like this is probably the best Thanksgiving Day slate of my recent memory. But I will say that I heard a stat that favorites on Thanksgiving are like 40-10 since like 2004. So that is not great for anybody that wants an interesting game, that wants the occasional underdog to pull out a surprise victory.
I wonder how many of those are the Lions just getting trucked by whatever team that they're playing for
probably
the past
quite
20
a few.
years.
Yeah, they've been absolute dog shit up until 4 years ago. But I also got to ask you this, like, so we're bringing banana bread. I made banana bread and cookies to bring to Missy's family Thanksgiving. And one of my buddies who is black, I was texting him, and this is it. There's
part of the story.
There's context. Yeah, I'm not like, any boomer who just has to say somebody's ethnicity just randomly for no reason. But he like, have you ever, our mom, love her to death. She's like, that Asian guy. I'm like, why can he just not be a guy? He's got to be the Asian guy. Like, but whatever, I digress. But I said that he asked what I was bringing to like my family's Thanksgiving. And I told him, I said banana bread. And he goes, that's the whitest shit I've ever heard. Like, is banana bread white? I was like, bro, you don't like banana bread? And he goes, no, I love that shit. I'm like, so what are you talking about? Like, I guess nobody, I don't know. You think that crosses racial boundaries? Because he mentioned like banana, like pudding and shit. And I'm like, so you eat banana pudding, but you won't eat banana bread? And he's like, no, I love banana bread. I'm like, what are you shit talking it for then? Like that caught me off guard. I'm like, bro, but then looking inward, I'm like, banana bread is the whitest shit you could eat. Like, that is just so stereotypical.
Yeah, you let bananas just go bad on purpose and then cook them into a bread. I love banana bread. Banana bread goes extremely hard. Do you use the same recipe mom's always used, or did you?
Yeah. It's like a 50-year-old recipe because I took a picture of the little like post-it
Index card.
Yeah, that our grandma, her mom, wrote, and I can hardly read the handwriting. So half the time I have to text our mom and be like, what does this even say? Like, all I see is 3 bananas and then a bunch of random
chicken scratch.
Yeah, it's so hard to read. But the banana bread is indeed fire. I did add chocolate chips to it, and I think I don't love it as much as I thought I would, because just automatically I'm like, we add chocolate chips to anything, it's pretty good. But banana bread in itself, just by itself, is really good until you add nuts to it, and then I'm all the way out. But yeah, I made banana bread. I made some homemade cookies. That is also our mom's recipe. So I was just baking my ass off yesterday. I was basically Martha Stewart up in that bitch. I was Snoop Dogg.
Proud of you.
Yeah,
proud of you for just baking away. We're making I'm cooking my first turkey tomorrow.
How are you doing it?
I've done a little research. We're going to brine it for 6 hours. So I'm going to wake up at 6, brine it for 6 hours, and then throw it in the oven, throw some other stuffing in it, and do a few seasonings and things like that. But we're going to give it a go and see what happens. And then our mom's.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just want to confirm, is the bird fully thawed out?
Yes, we bought it thawed out.
Oh, okay.
We saw how long it takes. Every pound is a day or some crazy shit. And so.
Yeah. You got to
Yeah,
buy that shit in August and let it defrost. Like that shit's insane. I have never done the turkey. At least I don't think so. But yeah, I would definitely not know that it needs to defrost for like 2 weeks previous before you cook it. But the turkey, the effort for the outcome, do you feel like it's worth it? What do you feel like your return on investment is there?
I don't know. I'm pretty invested in making it myself. Like when I eat somebody else's turkey, pause. I like turkey. Obviously, the dark meat's a little better than the light meat, but I'm not like
Pause.
overly not like overly taken back by it. But I just think it's a thing. Like
Overly taken back by it.
well,
It's just a tradition. You just throw the fastball. It's 90 on the black. Like
yeah, I'm not just like, wow, like eating turkey and just like blown away how good it is. And the gravy and the rest of the plate make it, but the turkey sandwiches afterwards are what really slap. When I'm one eyeing it tomorrow night watching Ravens Bengals and I'm trying to eat a turkey sandwich with mayonnaise and mustard, it's gonna slap like none other. So, and I think the fact that I'm actually doing the work and making it, maybe I'll think it tastes better or worse than somebody else's turkey, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it comes out. My wife's making all the sides and all the normal stuff. And people like to hate. There's a lot of haters out there on regular Thanksgiving dinner. But if you don't have yams with marshmallows on top and green bean casserole, which I can't eat, I'm allergic to green beans, ironically. But you got to have that. You got to have mashed potatoes or some sort of potatoes. You got to have some desserts, and then the turkey and or ham.
Stuffing is one of those things, I swear, it's similar to like corned beef that we eat. Our mom would always make it for us on St. Patty's Day, just once a year though. And every time I ate it, I'm like, why don't we make this more often? Stuffing is 100% one of those things that every time I eat it, I'm like, we should have this like once a week. And I saw, speaking of white people shit, I saw another meme that was like, white people will be like, let's eat this bread, let's eat this soggy, wet bread out of this bird's asshole. Like that shit cracked me up as well. Cause I don't think we've ever eaten a turkey that actually had it stuffed with the stuffing. Like the stuffing was always just a side thing. I'm never inserting I'm never inverting the bird, like fucking shoving all that stuffing right in its cornhole. Like I guess it's supposed to add flavor. I don't know if it's supposed to like
I'm doing that tomorrow apparently. So we're going to see exactly what stuffing a bird is.
Did you buy gloves for this situation, or are you just raw dogging it? You're just going in raw.
No, I definitely am going in raw. I did not buy any gloves.
Oh, you better make sure that your hands are nice and clean, because that grosses me out. Even just like cleaning the middle out of a turkey or a chicken. Our mom always did that shit, and it was just normal. That makes me want to yak. But give me your favorite side at Thanksgiving.
I think it's got to be the sweet potatoes or the yams with marshmallows baked on and just melted on top of it. I think that's the go-to for me. And cranberry sauce, even just by itself now. I mean, we used to make this great family dish with cranberry sauce and whipped cream and crushed up saltine crackers, and it goes so hard. But
you want to hear about white? I still make it just for myself. I literally 100%. I made it for myself yesterday, and Missy doesn't like it. I'm like, great, more for me. And the best part about that shit is the wetter and the longer it sits there, the better it gets. But not sitting out, but like in the fridge. It needs to be nice and marinated. It needs to have a little, like if you eat it fresh, it's not good. It is good, but it's not as good. Once those saltine crackers get a little, a little moist, a little damp, and it kind of everything works together, that shit is gas. And I do have to say that I think I've lost a little weight over this last like month, which has been awesome. It's kind of unintentional, but I just haven't really eaten as much because I feel better when I don't eat. But now I don't even know if I'm necessarily hungry or not, but I'm just eating again, like because my stomach isn't fucked up. So this shit's just going out the window. Like I've already had like 5 of the cookies that I baked yesterday. Had a piece of banana bread for this morning for breakfast. Like it's it's going to be a full on. And then I was just thinking about eating yifta after my meatloaf. I'm like, I don't need a, I am so bad at falling into that. Like, I need a sweet treat after everything that I eat. Like, I need to finish it off with something sweet. And that's just something that my body cannot afford to take at this point.
Bro, in my backpack right now, which is I bring to work and kind of everywhere, it's my man purse essentially. I have these sun butter almond something cups that I got at Whole Foods that are basically Reese's cups, but they're I think sunflower butter instead of peanut butter or whatever. And
Wait,
then
they're
they're not.
making sunflower butter now?
Yeah, sunflower butter is a thing.
What?
100%. It's like peanut butter, but almond butter,
Talk
but
about
not.
white people shit. Like, you can't just eat
It's
peanut butter, you eat sunflower
No,
butter.
it's not necessary. I don't know if it's the peanut butter part of it that it's avoiding, but it's no dairy in these things. So no dairy. That's what I stick with. And then I also have dark chocolate covered espresso beans. And then I also have a gaggle, and this is what it's called because it's from Trader Joe's, a gaggle of gummy candy. And I definitely cycle through each of those three after I have my lunch at work. And then I just sit there and I'm going to stare at the computer for 20
The red
minutes
ring
trying
of
to
death. Yeah, just staring a hole
yeah,
through your
trying to figure
computer.
out where I'm at. Speaking of work though, we actually so shout out to Jeff Zerker. He's one of our followers, always watches the podcast. Shout out to you, loyal listener. He DM'd us this morning and on Instagram was asking us kind of what we do to get away to do the pod and kind of how we've been able to go to so many sporting events and all that as younger men. I now that we're in our 30s, I was just quick side note, I was thinking the other day, we got invited to a Christmas party of like adults. John Riskin, shout out John Riskin, he's one of my work friends, but also like an outside of work friend who's in his like 40s, and they're doing a legit Christmas party. And I was like excited. And I thought to myself, like, I'm excited to go to an adult Christmas party. And I'm like, shouldn't I be fucking hosting an adult? Like, we're having a Christmas get together for our friends, but I no way, shape, or form. Like, when do you realize you're an adult? That should be an all-time question because
Yeah.
I still see like a 40 or 50-year-old. They don't have their shit figured out any more than I do. And I know this for a fact. Yet for some reason, it just feels like they are adults. And I'm like, oh, I've got a fucking 2-year-old. And I'm like, I'm still a kid.
Yeah, there's definitely I think it's when you get into your 40s. Like, that's when, because in your 30s you can still get away with being like, oh yeah, they're still figuring it out. Like, if you're still figuring it out in your 40s, you're a problem. Like, but your 30s, especially, I hate to say it, but as a dude, like dudes in their 30s, you get a lot more leeway because your biological clock is, pretty much endless until you die. So dudes, I have, older buddies that were in their 30s, like not married, not figured out, nothing. I mean, I am in a relationship, but I'm not married, no kids. Like, there's more dudes, I will say, in their 30s that are single and just don't necessarily, this is not me, but don't want to settle down, blah, blah, blah. Like, I feel like as a dude in your 30s, you still have the excuse that, oh, I'm young, I'll figure it out. Money comes and goes, blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't have to have everything figured out. But once you're in your 40s, if you don't have it somewhat figured out, then you got like issues. Because then retirement, like, I mean, I'm already looking at retirement. I'm fucking 30 years old. I'm like, when can we get this show on the road? But I wouldn't call myself retired right now by any means. But so what were you going to get into about what we do for work? Because you said you had something.
Oh yeah, so we worked as and at the golf course, obviously, and the one thing I would say about like going to a lot of sporting events that we have been to and being able to travel and do that is it's not what you know, it's who you know. Sometimes, like we got tickets one time to the Cowboys Broncos game in Dallas, the greatest tickets I've ever sat at with a full bar and everything for $125 a piece because we knew someone at the golf course. So that's my advice to parents, honestly. And yes, this is a golf podcast, so we're definitely biased, but I would tell your kids to work at their bookstore in college. I did that, got a lot of, free rentals, if you will. Books in college are expensive. And then also working at a golf course is just the unbelievable connections you make with people from, our Broncos season tickets now are just through somebody that you met bartending at the golf course. and they moved, and they've basically gifted them to us for as long as we have them and they want them, or the other way around, as long as they have them and we want them. So
Well, you left out the fact that you got to have a fantastic personality like mine in order to make people want to hang out with you and hook you up with things. Because when we worked at the golf course, you were very much like, come in, do my work, go home. You would hang out from time to time, but it was always like, oh, I wish Spencer would hang out more. I wish you, and you always just had shit going. You were always doing something else. And I was the one always hanging out there, making friends, making lifelong connections. And you did make some friends, but I think even you have some regrets about not like being as close with some of the people. And it really does take effort to, like, I know it sounds dumb, but as you get older, you realize that relationships are more important than anything. Like you said, and not necessarily like looking at somebody like, oh, what can they do for me? But genuinely like being friends with them and having something to offer yourself. And then, they have what they have to offer in return. So, but yeah, I mean, that was kind of a joke, but at the same time, like I did make a lot of like lifelong connections through friends that I met at the golf course that we worked at. So that was one of the best things, like you said, that you could possibly do as a teenager in your 20s. All the connections, if you can caddy, if you can bartend, like just meeting people and being curious. Like I'm not trying to be corny here, but you always give me shit for asking 8 million questions, but people like when you ask questions. Like, for instance, I asked you what your favorite side was and you never asked me. So
well,
that's how your brain works.
Yeah, but you started getting into, talking about eating gift after fucking meatloaf at 3:30 in the afternoon on a Wednesday. So you kind of sidetracked the whole conversation. But also, Jeff, so what I do now is I'm an events coordinator for a sports media company. So I basically oversee essentially 5 markets and their events, whether it's tailgates or golf tournaments or all that stuff kind of around the country. But my work schedule itself is pretty lax essentially. So I'm not in it. I have an office, but I'm not supposed to be in the office 9 to 5 or do any of that. So that's why I get to hang out with my kid a lot, to be honest with you. And we get to travel a lot. And we also kind of dabble in the real estate market. And that's another thing where it was just an opportunity. You met a kid at the Junior Ryder Cup Academy, you guys were both kids at this time. You qualified for that from Colorado. You meet a kid from Indiana at that point, Oliver, and then he turns into a real estate or a mortgage broker essentially in South Carolina, and we dabble in the real estate market in South Carolina, and we both had houses essentially when we got out of college or high school, college area, that we turned around and then put more money into some real estate down there. So that's kind of how we did it and how we have been able to do as many cool things as we've been able to do in our lives at 30 years old. I look back and see the stadiums, which I need to cross off NRG Stadium off there, but I've got a stadium poster, and we've been going to away Broncos games since we were 18 and 17 years old. So 13 years of a away trip every single year. So that's kind of how we did it. And it's just, Mitchell's a very much save your money type of guy. So it's a super lame, but yeah, you want to talk about
Spencer calls me cheap all the fucking time, and I want to beat the shit out of him because he is dumb about money. And I've actually, let's just tell this story. You had a Roth IRA that you had been putting money into for 7 or 8 years, and not a single dollar was invested into the stock market. It was just sitting there in cash, and I had to go in there for you and actually buy some sort of stock in order to have that money actually invested. So you didn't look in there when you were 65 and be like, oh, I invested $120,000 and here's $120,000. Like, how fucking stupid could. Yeah. I mean, I set up your kids' college fund, like, not to toot my own horn, but the one class I paid attention to in high school was finance. That was it. Like, that's all I gave a shit about. Yeah. Frugal's a better, he's full of shit basically, because I am not cheap. The one thing, it's a pet peeve of mine. I will not spend money out of principle. Like, for instance, I was putting a TV up on a rooftop, not a cheap move. That is an expenditure that I easily could have not spent $500 on, but I did because I wanted it. It's a luxury. But I had a TV hanger somewhere in this fucking storage unit or at your house, or I don't know where it was. And Spencer's like, you just go buy a new one. Like you know, they're $30. And I'm like, if I have one sitting there, why would I go buy a new one? It just doesn't make logical sense. I didn't even find that TV hanger, had to buy a new one. And it was like $150, by the way, which is fucking a load of shit. Anywho, that's just the kind of like Spencer is the ultimate will pay for convenience at all costs. I actually have a little bit more time on my hands than he does. So I will go out of my way to save myself a little bit of money by like, my favorite thing to do, money saving tip. I go pick my food up from a restaurant if I order it. Like I don't fucking order Grubhub or Uber Eats, that shit. Like for instance, last night we got hibachi, and usually if we order hibachi from this place, takeout, it's like or delivered, it's like $120 total for two of us. So it's already outrageous. But if you go pick it up, it's like 80, 75, $80. Like it is so much cheaper to just pick it up. And then you don't sit there and wait. It always takes like an hour and a half to get here. And it's 20 minutes away. You know, it's just shit like that. I try to be somewhat smart with my money. So then when shit rolls around, I can actually afford to do it. And that is one thing that you and I have been very lucky to say is we've never had to like say no to something because we couldn't afford it. Like, you know, it might be a time constraint or it might be this or that, but it's not like, oh, I mean, I'm not getting invited to fucking Monaco or anything, but I I can go to the bar on a Friday night and drop 150 beans and get absolutely fucking crippled and think no problems about it. So that's kind of how we're able to do the shit that we're able to do for lack of a better term.
Yeah. So that's our story. Shout out to Jeff for the question. If anybody ever has any questions about golf or any other bullshit we talk about, just hit us up. Hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, whatever.
You didn't even say what I did. I'm a golf instructor and a sales rep for Pins and Aces.
Yeah, I was gonna let you do that, but then I also didn't want to say it for you. I was gonna be like, well, what do you do? Like, what do you go around the circle here? What's your
I actually had a sales meeting this afternoon that I'll have to tell you about. It's in my WTF Wednesday. But it's fun. That's why we're always rocking Pins and Aces shit. So should we get into a little bit of golf? There you go.
Let's do it. Let's start out with Sami Valimaki winning this year, or for the first time this year on the PGA Tour, winning the final event of the PGA Tour season at the RSM Classic. And honestly, I'm kind of sad that the RSM Classic is such a throwaway event, and we'll talk about throwaway events because there might not be any in 2 years.
They might be thrown away.
Yeah, they might quite literally be turned into a non-factor. But Sami Valimaki, the first player from Finland to ever win a PGA Tour event, so shout out to him. And just another, young European coming up and winning. And I was doing some research into him, and just I do like seeing a what's in the bag. And one thing that's kind of shocking to me is how good ping irons are, because Sami Valimaki is a club free agent essentially. So I think he's got the Titleist driver, he's got the TaylorMade mini driver, he's got TaylorMade woods, and then he goes to ping irons, and then Vokey wedges, and then he has the Odyssey White Hot 2-ball OG putter. But just ping irons, when we were growing up, ping irons were the thing that a 40-year-old had, because they'd had them for 30 years since they were 16, and they were the ugliest looking clubs in the world. But I feel like it would be great to do, how sometimes I think The Athletic does it. They do like an anonymous hockey poll and ask a bunch of questions. I would love for there to be an anonymous golf poll, and maybe there is this out there, we just haven't looked hard enough, of what the best irons are and driver and all that. Like, because, Rory's not going to come out being a TaylorMade guy and say that the Titleist driver is the best driver in the world. He gets paid millions of dollars not to for that reason. But it would be interesting to see if all the players got to test all the clubs that they weren't signed with, and you're essentially a club free agent like Valimaki is, what they would end up playing. And he's got like I just listed it out, but a smorgasbord of Odyssey, Ping, Titleist, Callaway, or TaylorMade. So it's like a Thanksgiving dinner, if you will, of a bunch of different things in his bag. But he became the 17th first time winner on the PGA Tour this year. And I won't get to it when we get to the stats of the season. That's when I'll ask you if you can name the 17. I know you won't be able to get them all, but I want to see how many guys you can get. But shout out to Sam.
Real quick on Sam's golf game, because I've watched him over on the European Tour, DP World Tour before. He's a young dude. He's born in, I think he's 28. But he's been on the DP World Tour for a while now. Yeah, he's 27. He's listed at 6'2", 235, and I think that's low. He's a unit. I think he could easily be touching 250. He is, and he always rocks a mullet. That was initially why I love Valimaki. I was like, this guy is just a big unit. He looks like he could be on the offensive line for Iowa. Looks like Jennings Dunker out there with his mullet. But statistically speaking, he is probably one of the worst drivers of the ball on tour. So his strokes gained off the tee is 157th. So he is not a good driver of the ball, but approaching the green and putting, he is 18th and 10th. So it just goes to show you hit your irons that good and you putt well. Like those are his two major strokes gained. He's bad off the tee and he's bad around the green, and he is one. And I actually, when we get into the stats later, there's a guy who's pretty high up in a few stats who had a very bad season and is not going to keep his PGA Tour card. So there's definitely some certain stats that you can work around. Like you don't have to be great off the tee. He hits it plenty long. He just doesn't hit it very straight, but his irons are stupid good. Like that is, the PGA Tour, you can't drive it well and then hit your irons like dog shit. That's just not going to work out for you. So he's very talented on the green, very talented in the fairway. What else is he? His sand save percentage, dog water. But other than that, like birdie average 27th, par 4 scoring average 27th, 30th in scoring average. So he does a lot of things very well, and he's definitely contended a few times this season. So what he had 4 top 10s and only he played 26 events, so never mind. I thought he played a little bit of a lower schedule, but he was always that dude that I want to gamble on because it feels like he's going to have a good week. And I feel like he is, I did not look this stat up, but he's just the guy that I always feel like I see at the top of the leaderboard after day one. He always comes out stupid hot. I know he's led the Mexico Open a few times. I think the year that Knapp won it, he was in the lead or in contention at the Mexico Open. So he's been in quite a few tournaments, and I definitely think going forward we could see more of him. And did you see all of his buddies that were there that flew from Denmark to celebrate with him?
No, I did not see that. That's awesome.
He had like 4 or 5 guys that were there to watch him, and I guess they just got absolutely pissed drunk. And just by the looks of Sammy, it looks like he could really get after it at the bar. So I bet they had a blast down in Sea Island after he got that W. But just a dude that I really enjoy watching play. He's got a weird, he's got a very, very draw by his swing. He pretty strictly plays a draw with his driver and his irons. So as you can see, that doesn't really work out great with his driver, but with his irons, he's as good as anybody in the world. So traditionally speaking, that's going to do pretty well for you out there on tour.
Yeah, shout out to Sami Valimaki. And let's kind of wrap up this PGA Tour season and get into some stats. And get into, so let's jump into the first time winners. So there was now 17, 16 before this event, first time winners. And I want to see if you can give me these 16 first time winners on the PGA Tour Championship. 2 of the names, very obvious, kind of hilarious that they're first time winners. But I'll do this. How's this sound? I'll tell you the tournament and you see if you can remember who won it.
Okay.
First time, right?
That's more helpful for sure.
Okay. Waste Management Phoenix Open.
Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm already off to a terrible. I really didn't pay that close of attention to the Waste Management this year. I wasn't like super dialed in. Oh, who was it? Tell me.
Thomas Dietrich.
Oh, yes. Okay, Dietrich. And see, that's another guy that feels like he's won. He's been in contention. He's been on tour for years. It's kind of surprising he hasn't won already. So that one makes sense. Okay, next one.
Okay, the Mexico Open.
Oh, that was Brian Campbell, who bent me over and showed me all 50 states with Aldrich Pocketer and that tree kicking back into the fairway. That was an easy one.
The Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches.
Ooh, another one I do not recall.
Joe Highsmith. Isn't that bucket hat dude?
Oh, that's Lefty. Yeah, Joe Highsmith. Okay. Yep. Now you're going to say all these names and I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yep. The Puerto Rico Open.
Nope. Not
Carl
even.
Phillips.
Oh, Phillips won this year? I did not even realize that.
Yeah, I think that was a sideshow event. Alti Field.
I was literally going to call it the same
Finau
thing, like some sort of sideshow fucking, yeah.
The Texas Children's Hospital Open.
Oh, shit.
Big name.
Are you joking?
No. I think a pretty big name. 3 names.
Give it to me.
1, 2, 3.
What's his name?
Minwoo Lee.
Oh my God. See that there's so many guys that just feel like they should have won. Like that dude's been on tour for a decade.
Yeah, it does feel like that. Okay, you should get this one. The Zurich Classic of New Orleans, 2 winners. 2
phones. Was that Rory and Shane this year?
No, that was last year. That was Andrew Novak and Ben Griffin.
Oh, yes.
And it's kind of insane to think of the year that Ben Griffin had, but he ended up winning the Charles Schwab Challenge as well this year and then another event this year. So he had 3 wins on his card this year and got his first win also in the team event. So and then played in the Ryder Cup. It was an insane year for Mr. Aviators. What are the Benny Booms or whatever the fuck they call him?
Benny Moonface.
All right. The One Flight Myrtle Beach Classic. You should know this one. This is our guy.
Oh, Ryan Fox.
There you go.
Yeah.
This is another one of your guys winning the Rocket Classic.
Ooh, in Detroit. That wasn't Aaron Rye, was it? No, he won it. Who is it?
Aldrich Pocketer.
Oh shit! I forgot he won there this year. Side note: Ryan Fox also won the Canadian Open this year. That was one that I had stuck in my mind in a playoff against Sam Burns. That fucking choker.
Fucking choke job. Okay, you won't get this one. The ISCO Championship was William Mao.
William Mao won this year?
Yeah.
So that I did not realize that because that is who Justin Sternad played with in the Valspar Pro-Am. And
really?
He said he was kind of a dickhead. He said he kind of sucked. But I call him the lawnmower because that's just right there. That's too good of a nickname. So
too easy.
I kind of kept track of William Mao after Justin played with him because he went to Pepperdine, like just kind of a, whatever.
Just kind of a nothing burger guy.
Yeah.
All right. The Barracuda, you may or may not get that one.
Barracuda. I just always remember like Brendan Steele winning it like 15 years ago. And I forgot he played professional golf, but that is the long and short answer of I don't fucking know.
Ryan Gerard.
Oh yeah. Not a clue.
These next 2 you should get. The Wyndham Championship.
That was Cam Young, yeah.
Yep. And the Tour Championship.
Tommy.
Cam Young and Tommy Fleetwood. That is like the highlight of 2025. I think obviously Scotty winning 3 times, Ben Griffin winning 3 times, or Scotty winning 6 times, excuse me. Ben Griffin winning 3 times, Scotty winning 2 majors. I think for the casual PGA Tour fan that pays more attention than not and watches like pretty much every week, I think Tommy Fleetwood winning the Tour Championship, obviously extremely electric. And then Cameron Young finally winning the Wyndham, extremely electric. We got 2 more. We've got the Sanderson Farms and the Bank of Utah Championship. You're not going to get either of those 2, but I'm just throwing them out there.
Oh, the Sanderson. I kind of... No, give it to me.
Stephen Fisk.
Oh, yeah, not a clue.
And the Bank of Utah Championship was Michael Brennan.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know that guy's on tour. That is kind of the shocking thing for how few of people it feels like are on tour is there's names that I've literally never heard once in my life that are playing in PGA Tour events. And Maybe that's on the PGA Tour for not like covering anybody besides like the top 10 players on the PGA Tour. But I've probably learned more from our boy Monday Q Info than like just random names of, good stories and shit than I have from like PGA Tour coverage. So
Yeah. So do you want to, that's kind of a smooth transition there. Should we transition into, you talked about a lot of no-name PGA Tour players. Should we transition into which PGA Tour players lost their cards, or should we transition into what the PGA Tour and Harris English coming out and talking about it and some Golf Digest sources say the PGA Tour schedule may look like in 2027? Which road do you want to go down? And we'll start it. We'll start the engines.
let's talk about the players that lost their cards because I think there's a few pretty surprising ones in there.
Okay, players that lost their cards. So there are some surprising ones in there. I think the funny thing about this is I was looking through a couple articles and just getting some names and some guys. A lot of these guys are going to end up just heading straight to the Champions Tour or the PGA Tour Champions, whatever it's called. But Brandt Snedeker, kind of older dude. He missed too many cuts this year. He had a bunch of top tens, but
Did he really?
yeah, it said several top tens. I don't know exactly how many that was, but he will be the captain, the U.S. captain of the President's Cup in 2026, but not have PGA Tour status. Of course, the biggest one for the fans is Joel Dahmen. Missed 16 cuts this year and had 3 top tens, but the split with Gino Bonelli and then missing 16 cuts. He will not be playing on the full time on the PGA Tour in 2026. Matt Kuchar.
Real quick, how much money do you think? And first of all, Brandt Snedeker is only 44, so he's got a good better part of half a decade until he can get to the Champions Tour. But how much money do you think Brandt has won on the PGA Tour?
I'm going to say 40 million.
Very close, $42 million. So just one of the most low key, like unsuspecting. I wonder if he still plays that R7 driver from like 15 years ago because he kept that thing in the bag forever. Also, one of the all-time bald heads on the PGA Tour. When you see that thing, you're just shocked because he'd been losing it for a while. He could still pull off like the Zach Johnson comb over, but when he shaved it, I was like, holy shit, he's got absolute melon on him.
Yeah, a couple of former major champions to lose their tour cards, their full status this year. Danny Willett, the most infamous major Masters winner of all time, probably. He loses his PGA Tour card in full status. Francesco Molinari, as well as Zach Johnson. Zach Johnson's going to lose his PGA Tour card, but he turns 50 in February, so he'll probably just head over onto the Champions Tour if he wants to do that. And then another crazy name, your boy Tristan, whatever, however you say it. But he'll probably just be a DP World Tour guy full time, and so he'll probably be one of those guys that wins like 2 or 3 times and maybe gets top 10 status on the DP World Tour in 26 and comes back to the PGA Tour in 27. But Cameron Champ, it's crazy because Cameron Champ, he only had 1 top 10 this entire year at the RBC Canadian Open. He finished 147th and lost his full status, but he has 3 career victories. And so it just kind of goes to show you how, we always talk about winning, and if you win, it seems like you have forever on the PGA Tour. But Cameron Champ's won 3 times just as recently as I think 3 years ago. And now he has played bad enough to lose his full-time PGA Tour status in just a matter of 3 years.
Yeah, he was definitely one of those dudes that was one of the chosen ones coming out of college simply because of how long. And even Michael Kim, remember, he tweeted out just a short quip about Cameron Champ, and he goes, when he hits it, it just sounds different. He's like, even relative to a regular tour player. So it just goes to show you can have all the talent in the world and still not get it done out there. And for one Cameron Champ on tour, there's 100 of those guys still chasing on mini tours right now that can move it 190 plus ball speed and still just can't get the ball in the hole.
Yeah, it's kind of insane. And when you win 3 times, now if you win once, you're like, all right, like the guys that won for the first time this year, sans the Tommy Fleetwoods and the Cameron Youngs who will be on tour for a long time. But your guys that win one time and they're like, oh my God, I won on the PGA Tour. And then you still have to grind for the 2 years that you now have full-time status and exemption for to make it past 20, what it would be at this point, to make it into 2028. Like it's so cutthroat. You don't just get to win and sign a 4-year guaranteed deal and become a contracted player that could play 10x worse than winning your one event and coast for the next 4 or 5 years. It's just so different than any other sport, and we've talked about that. But let's transition a little bit into what the PGA Tour could look like in 2027 and beyond. So 2026, the schedule's out. But 2027, Nuclear Golf and then Golf Digest has an entire article about it. But 2027 could look very different on the PGA Tour. We're talking 20-ish events, bye weeks after the majors, which a lot of players will give. And I feel kind of two ways about this. And I don't know how do you have any overarching thoughts one way or the other? Because I truly am, like I am in most things in my life, on the fence, because I think, 20 events will get the events themselves will be a lot more intense and a lot more, it's not like a who's playing this week. It's like the signature events. We know these top 30 PGA Tour players are all going to be there. So I think we'll get a lot more of that. But at the same time, the guys that, your guys that are in the 175 range, 75 to 150, you don't know how many events they're going to get to play in. You don't know how hard it's going to be for them to keep their tour cards. So where do you stand on this?
Yeah, I would say, like you said, I am pretty torn as well, because I would love to see all the big guys play in every event. That is the ultimate end goal. And, but at the same time, there's just, I think, especially cutting the PGA Tour down to 100 players, I don't think shortening the schedule and minimizing the fields makes sense. I think you do one or the other. And that's why I think they never should have gone to 100 players in the first place, because that just doesn't really make sense, on top of, there's going to be about 140 guys, 150 guys out there. But I just don't love that there's just less opportunity now. There's less. That'd be like, could you imagine the NFL being like, oh, instead of 32 teams, we're going to cut it down to 28? Like, that just does not make any logical sense. Or cutting down the schedule even. And from a viewership standpoint, then it becomes more must-watch type of golf. But I feel like golf is one of those things. I don't know if they've done like market research as to like every week golf is on and it just becomes like a blind, like people just don't give a shit because it's in their face every week, or that they retain some viewership because it is on every week. You know what I mean? So I don't really know the ins and outs of it, but automatically it gives us every event is a good talking point. So it's better for content to have all good events. But at the end of the day, just for opportunities for all kinds of players to get out there, it just minimizes that more. So.
Yeah. And in the article, they kind of talked about the fact that if they're with this change and a lot less players playing, the sideshow events, the off field events will go away, but then there'll be more of a, potentially, all this is alleged, of course. So I'm just going to say it once and then just talk about it like it's real. But they talked about the fact that there would be a stepped up Corn Ferry Tour, essentially, and the Corn Ferry Tour would be beefed up, which I think the fun thing about this is it makes each individual product a lot better, because think of all the players that don't make it that will end up playing on the DP World Tour, and those fields will be even stronger. Or the Corn Ferry Tour, if you will, or whatever they end up calling it in 2 years with the naming rights, there's a lot more PGA Tour level players playing in those, and those fields are a lot more fun. So I can see the positivity in that part of it from a viewership standpoint, but from the player standpoint, other than playing less golf and not having the 8 signature events, which then there's an opposite field event usually on it, or there is or there isn't, and the majors wouldn't count in these 20 events. 20 to 22 I think is the target number. But the tweet from Nuclear Golf, the first reply was, oh, okay, so live golf then. And it kind of made me think it's not necessarily the same, but I do think the actual product itself, and it's interesting because the new PGA Tour CEO comes from the NFL, And that's where they talked about in the article a little bit, the fact that every NFL game, pretty much, there's 17 of them, and they're must-watch TV. And so creating that product of must-see TV, like you said, for content purposes, when we get on here on a Monday in the middle of June, we're not talking about the shithole open and some random dude we've never heard of winning it. We're talking about like, oh, this guy, player X, edged out Ludwig Aubert and Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler, like in every single event. So I see it as a positive it's a positive for the viewers. It's a positive for the players that are really good on the PGA Tour, but then for the players that are just striving, fighting each week to live on the PGA Tour and be a PGA Tour player, it's going to be really bad for. So it's kind of, like we always talked about, there's no middle class. There really will be no middle class on the PGA Tour if something like this goes through and happens.
100%. And the other thing too that a lot of people forget about as well is the cities that host these events. Like a lot of the more non big name events, it still does so much for that city's economy. And I know I'm looking at it like that's such a dad thing for me to be like, what about the economy? But it just sucks that like when I went to the Valspar, because that is one of the tournaments that they're talking about eliminating, the Valspar is pretty well attended. It's a lot of local people down in Tampa, and it gives people jobs. It gets businesses revenue. It does a lot for the local places. So, if you don't have those tournaments, then those towns are just losing out on money that they could be making and people in the area. So that's another thing I think, if the PGA Tour is going to continue to lean into this nonprofit thing and donating all this money to charity, then it's going to look kind of bad when they just take these events away that, raise millions of dollars every city that they're in.
Yeah, and that's where it sucks is like the Silvis, Illinois getting the John Deere Classic. Like those cities are losing out because that's one of those things where one time a year it just like pops up in a random city in Illinois or Texas or California or whatever, and that whole city gets to kind of say, hey, we host a PGA Tour event. What's the TPC Minnesota? I know it's not called that, TPC, whatever, the 3M, like events like that where
TPC Twin Cities.
TPC Twin Cities. Yeah, like if we had an event in Colorado every single year and we got to watch that and that was like our thing, I think that would be awesome. And then you're going to lose that. It's it's a bummer. It's a bummer for those cities and it's a bummer for those mid-level tour players. And this article cites like the biggest catalyst in this in general is the Strategic Sports Group. So it says clear right here, I'm quoting, private equity doesn't operate out of charity. The companies that infused $1.5 billion into the tour want return on their investment. And with Saudi Arabia's public investment fund no longer expected to add $1.5 billion into the mix, in parentheses, that's the operating mindset for now, Strategic Sports Group needs to start finding other avenues to recoup its money. They've been reducing staff, and the organization has long been accused of carrying too much fat in its hierarchy. Those labor reductions will only go so far. So creating a series of 20-something tournaments is viewed as one way to decrease a ton of cost while potentially increasing the revenue.
Yeah, I mean, I was literally going to say this is private like this is basically Chipotle, but for golf tournaments. They want less output and more revenue. So how are you going to do that? You're going to cut the fat. You're going to cut the shitty little events that don't get the ratings that bring in the TV revenue. At any cost, they will cut money in order to improve their bottom line. So that it's got private equity written all over it, unfortunately.
Yeah, like you hire a new CEO and he comes in and is like, oh, I've got plenty to clean up here. And then he starts cleaning it up by basically trying to make the product just better, make each individual product in each individual week a lot better and a lot more watchable. And they have, the Masters this year, obviously Rory winning helped, but it was the highest rated Masters since 2018. So there are their bigger pieces are getting way bigger, but all of these smaller little ancillary tournaments and events are just not doing it for the tour and not doing it for, the play, like most of the players or some of the players. Then there's a group of people that are like, I live on those. I live on these events,
Oh, it's massive. And one other thing I will say is if more competition gets pushed down to the Corn Ferry Tour, they flat out need to increase those purses because that money is not enough to live on. Even if you're, and it's all relative, you can make $500,000 and that's good money. It's very good money. But with all the expenses coming out of the player's pocket, paying for caddies, paying their own insurance, paying for their own travel, all of this shit, you need to increase Corn Ferry purses. If you expect no wonder fucking live golf, I guarantee you there's going to be more guys trying to qualify for that shit because it just truly from an economic standpoint doesn't make sense to go chase it on the Corn Ferry Tour unless you can win at least twice, then you make $250,000 after expenses, you maybe net 150 to 200 or less. It just doesn't make economic sense for a lot of these dudes that were out on the PGA Tour making, $1.52 million to go fight for 125 grand. It's in fucking Wichita, Kansas. It just doesn't, it's not gonna, the math is not gonna math for these guys.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but kind of I am excited to see the product for those 20-ish weeks. If it's because a signature event right now, obviously it's not a major in the lore of history of golf, but the signature events right now are just incredible golf courses, incredible names at the top of the leaderboard, a chance for somebody that's down at 65 to 70 that barely gets in and gets guaranteed these signature events to go win something insane against, all the entire PGA Tour is high level competition, but you know what I mean? You get to play against Scotty and Tommy and Rory and guys like that will be at these events. So very much excited to see what makes
and
of this.
Also, let's just say this: it's none of this shit's probably going to happen. In my opinion, this is the players vouching for this shit, but I think that there's going to be a lot of pushback from the brass up top, unless they just hemorrhage money on these smaller events. But I don't see any professional. Is there any professional sport right now that's not adding games, that's taking away games? If everywhere, the more the better. So I don't see how this is going to. It'd be great for the players, but I don't think that the brass is going to approve of this. So.
Yeah, and it just kind of will show us how much power the new CEO has. If he comes in and completely starts changing up a lot of things, it kind of goes to show you that the players are not the ones that are making the decisions or have a high level of decision making anymore. And it's truly we're the bosses, you guys are the employees, if you will, and we make the decisions here, and this is how it's going to be. And if you want to play on this tour, if you don't, go to the live tour. But that's also kind of an interesting dichotomy that they have where it's maybe players will start jumping then. And maybe, ironically, but it would make the live tour a lot better too. If the mid-level PGA Tour players started coming over to the live tour and you don't have your Hansel and Gretel's playing fucking 54 holes, now 72 holes. I always forget that Jedediah Morgan or whatever the fuck that guy's name was. You won't have those guys. Yeah, you won't have those guys on the live tour. The live tour itself would be a lot stronger. So kind of interesting to think about.
All ships.
Yeah, exactly. Golf itself would get a lot better, but just not for your guys that are just grinding away on the PGA Tour.
Yep, 100%.
All right, let's wrap this episode up with a What the Fuck Wednesday. I've got a few. I'll start it off. What the Fuck Wednesday, of course, is something that happens to us in the past week where you just look at that and shake your head. Number one, I went to the gym today, and they were cleaning the showers at 10:30. And so I finished this workout. I'm ready to get in the shower, and this kid is fucking spraying the showers, and I'm like, I can't. I got to go to work. I got things to do. I'm not just going to sit here. So I didn't shower after my gym session, which is normally I don't sweat a ton, but today I kind of did, ironically.
Of course.
But yeah, so of course I don't shower, and so I'm just sitting in a disgusting mess of myself. That's one of my What the Fuck Wednesdays. Another one is let me find this.
Oh man, what are you looking up here?
Well, I already talked about the Christmas lights, of course, the Christmas lights all being out, but another one is, our snack cabinets up top, and then we have our pantry kind of up high. above our laundry machine, if you will. And the other day I was going to get snacks, and the apple cider vinegar lid wasn't completely on, and so it fell as I was getting the snacks down and like drenched me. And so I
Oh,
just
that's
smelled
like
like
the worst. Yeah. It
yeah,
stinks.
terrible smell. So a lot of this at What the Fuck Wednesday has to do with me smelling, which isn't great. Normally I feel like I smell decent, but yeah, I drenched it was my Hawkeyes jersey, and it was my lucky jersey at the time. They were playing well, and I was like, I have to keep wearing this. And then I couldn't stand the apple cider vinegar smell anymore. So I had to toss her in the laundry and put a new shirt on, and then they ended up losing. I think that was the USC game. So it's my
Oh
fault.
yeah,
They
so that
lost.
was kind of a little precursor. I will say as a larger guy, like I'm not skinny, and I feel like everyone just automatically assumes that like bigger dudes stink all the time. So I always pride myself on not stinking and like smelling good. So I cannot stand when I do not smell good. And I don't have to I don't douse myself in cologne everywhere I go, but I always think that something about a good smell just hits different. Like if somebody smells good, it automatically makes them better looking, or you have like a good memory of them when you associate like a good smell. And
Flirting versus harassment.
yes, 100%. My WTF Wednesday is this account that I went and visited this afternoon. This is the second year this guy has done this to me. I'm not going to say who it is, but and they're good dudes. Like I like them a lot. They're fun to bullshit with. But he's like, come down, show me the stuff in person. And today he jokingly was like, oh, that's so funny because we're not buying anything from you. And it's like 2.5 hours round trip. I sold him some stuff like 2 years ago, and then this last year he did the same thing to me. He's like, come down. I was a little bit like later in the season, so it's kind of on me. But he just never bought it. He's like, yeah, we just don't have any room. And I'm like, so why didn't you tell me that? And I wouldn't have driven round trip and spent an hour bullshitting with you about nothing. So then this year I had some last year's samples that I've just been giving away, like to some accounts, little incentive. So I give him and the assistant each a couple shirts, and he's like, oh, you brought gifts for us. He's like, it's so ironic because we're not going to buy anything. And I was like, oh, awesome. Like, and he actually wasn't kidding. They are going through like an ownership change, so they don't know what they can and can't buy for next year yet. So he is going to order stuff for next season, just not quite yet. But it's just like, why tell me to come down and you want this whole song and dance? You want I sent you an online catalog. You either like the shit or you don't. I'm not going to be a guy that's like, oh, this should be good. Maybe I'm a bad salesman in that way, but like I'm of the mindset you either like it or you don't. I'm not going to try to sell you on it and basically force it upon you. Like that's just not my style. So it was just it gave me a task for the day that felt good. But other than that, I was like, and he just lets me carry all my shit into the pro shop. He hardly looks at it, like maybe looked at it for like 30 seconds. And then we just bullshit for an hour, and then I leave like that. It was just a fucking big old waste of an afternoon. So
Is it like a nicer place? What would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? Like 10 being Cherry Hills and 1 is, Eaton Golf Club or Lyman Golf Club.
It's like a 6 or 7. It's like it's a mid-level country club.
Okay.
So they're getting like bought out by like this management firm, blah, blah, blah. So it's a whole story that I heard about after I found out I was selling nothing to them. So that was I was like, cool, dude. Thanks a lot for that. Have a happy Thanksgiving. I'm gonna fucking eat a can of raviolis because I did not
I'm
sell
going to go
you
home
shit.
and douse my sorrows in meatloaf.
Yeah. Which I did do, which I need to fucking go to the bathroom. So we got to wrap this up. This meatloaf's come knocking.
All right. Well, the meatloafs come knocking. I'm sure we're going to be feeling like this more. And all of you guys out there listening will be feeling like this more the next couple of days. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy some time off with your family. Enjoy some great food, including turkey. And we will talk to you guys next Wednesday. We'll be back with another post-Thanksgiving episode. Talking about more golf, talking about football. Broncos Sunday Night Football should be fun to get our team on national TV as long as they don't shit their pants. But very much looking forward to that. Looking forward to this weekend of just watching sports and eating. One of the better weekends of the year, if I do say so myself. We will talk to you guys next week. Follow us on all the socials at Big Drive Energy. Big Drive Energy Golf on Instagram. Appreciate you all tuning in. Give us a thumbs up on the way out. Have a
Happy
great weekend.
Thanksgiving.